No problem.
Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order and take roll call, please.
Joe Becker.
Here.
Andy Bertram. Here. Dan Cater.
Here.
Scott Gergen.
Here.
Lisa Hadeen.
Here.
Vince O'Brien.
Here, thank you.
Russ Roloff.
Here.
Superintendent Collins.
Here. Okay, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. And any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Should we say that?
Yeah, just at the end of the meeting, we will close it for probably 10 to 15 minutes to review some personnel issues. At that time, we'll head next door so that they can tear down.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the April 22nd meeting?
I'll motion. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Do we have a motion to approve the bills payable?
Move to pay the bills.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Terrific. Good news.
Well, we've got some really good news, and because we're on camera, I'm glad that Tom Johnson was able to come and join us this evening. 4 or 5 of you were able to be present last Wednesday at our recognition when Tom was selected as Employee of the Year. Again, because we're on camera, I want to share that we thank Intech. Intech provides $50 gift certificate to the employees of the semester, and from that, all of our employees then choose from those 12 who are the Employee of the Year. And with that, I'd like to congratulate Tom Johnson and have him come up in front of the camera so the community can see. I know everybody knows who Tom Johnson is, but again,
Thank you, Tim.
and retiring too.
Yeah.
But having said that, you know, it was really nice too that the individual that was giving the recognition from Intech had a personal connection with you and shared some of those stories as well. But
Yeah, absolutely.
outstanding. And I think you said it best, and I can't say it as well as you said it that afternoon, but you shared the fact that all 12 people do a lot of great things for the district, so it's very humbling to be selected from those 12.
Absolutely.
So with that, if you'd like to say a few words.
I would, just a couple. I'll make it short. As Tim said, awards like these, and I've said this other times, they're certainly deserved by many. They're only given to one, but there are a lot of people here in Independent School District 200, Hastings Public Schools, that certainly qualify to be the Employee of the Year. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Intech Plastics, and specifically, for sponsoring this award. One of the great things about our town, I think, and what makes it a great place to live, to work, to raise a family, is the fact that the school is very involved with the community. The community is very vital and involved with our schools. And Intech has a long, long history of supporting community projects, supporting our schools, whether it's the Employee of the Year or whether it's Gobblegate. You see them out there, they're employees, and you see their logo, and they're helping out wherever they can. So I'm really appreciative of everything that Intech Plastics and lots of other businesses like them do in our community. Tim mentioned Rick Zion was the presenter from Intech Plastics. He and I we grew up basically across the street from each other, right over here on 13th Street. So it was a very special day, and one that will always be, you know, a real highlight of my career in education. So I accept that award on behalf of all of the great people in Independent School District 200 who work so hard every day to provide great opportunities for our students. So thanks again. It's been a great place to live, to work, and yeah, a person can't ask for any more. So thank you to everybody.
And then Tom wasn't able to make it this evening, but we also gave recognition to Tom Brenny, who Julie Malm introduced and announced as Teacher of the Year. Tom Brenny's a kindergarten teacher. He's an outstanding Teacher of the Year candidate. Now he gets to compete at the state level as well. So very appreciative that we're able to have this opportunity to share this on community television as well, because Tom Brenny, many of us know him as outstanding educator and touches a lot of lives and will continue to touch a lot of lives. And with that, another person who touches lives is Mr. Larson, or Andy Larson, and he's here to do a presentation, and he has some help or some lead help with him, I think, as well.
Yes.
So Andy, come on up. Teacher
you.
at Pinecrest Elementary.
Yes, I teach third grade at Pinecrest Elementary. I have my student with me. This is Lauren. And she and I would like to show you one of the very cool new things that we've been doing this year with some of the technology that's been available to us. Having a small set of iPads in the classroom has allowed us to start connecting more with parents than we've ever been able to do before. And so I'd like to showcase an app that we're using called Seesaw. So while I turn it on, I'll just let Lauren introduce herself, and then you can start telling kind of what your favorite thing about Seesaw is.
Hi, I'm Lauren. My favorite thing about Seesaw is that I can communicate with my parents when I'm at school and they're at work.
So our students in our class are all given a portfolio online that is all based through this website called Seesaw, this app that is on all of our iPads. And every time a student would like to put something online, they can take a picture, they can take a video, they can upload a file that they've done, they can do a drawing, they can record themselves, they can do a lot of different things. So the best part is that once they post it, that parents can then see immediately the things that we're doing right here at school. So Lauren created a book report, or a report on snakes. So I'm going to play it here. We used another app called Telegami to do this.
Egg-eating snake can swallow egg twice as big as its head. The biggest python is 33 feet. A snake can't blink or wink because it doesn't have eyelids. Snakes have so many bones you can't even count them. When a snake starts to molt, its molting process starts at its head.
All right, so you get the idea there. And the really cool thing, if you look on the bottom, there's some like buttons like you would see on Facebook or Twitter. And it says Lawrence liked it, and then Levi Mull. And Levi is
My dad.
your dad. So as soon as Lauren posts this, it gets sent to her mom, to her dad, at work on their phones. And it immediately shows them what we've been doing in class. She can then get comments back from her dad, great recorded presentation, that she can then see right there. It creates an amazing conversation without them even being a part of each other, next to each other. And it completely eliminates that, what did you do at school today? Nothing. That every parent dreads, every parent goes and says, so tell me what you did at school today, and crickets, or nothing important. And now Lauren can go home at night and she can have her parents already know what she did, and they can create great conversations about that. So I wanted Lauren to be able to quickly showcase how easy it is for her to put something on Seesaw. She has her own device here that she brought, and she is just going to take a quick picture of the school board. And she's then going to post it, and I'll show you how quickly it can get on there. So go ahead, Lauren. Tell us what you're doing as you do it. You're supposed to get that done before we got in here. That's okay. Do it on mine. I've got it. Cool. So, show them the choices.
You can have photo, video, drawing, camera, notes.
So if a student's doing a presentation, they can set it down, they can take a picture of it, and then instantly, by clicking on her name, she can post it right into her portfolio. It will come right to me. I will have to approve it as soon as it comes. And let's go to your file, Lauren. And once I approve it, it will go right into Lauren's feed, and it can be instantly seen then by parents. So because she's using my iPad, I guess it's under my name, so it doesn't need approval. But one of the cool things from the teacher perspective is that I do get to see everything before it's put on there, so that kids can They can't just send anything, but the fact that their parents are the first ones to see it is also a really strong motivator for posting positive things, if you catch my idea. So the really cool aspect of it from a student perspective, I mean, you've seen how it's beneficial to the parents, but from a student perspective is this takes show and tell and sharing to a whole new level. Lauren has posted some things from her house. I've given each kid a QR code that they can take home, and then they can show what they've done at school and what they've done at home. This is a race that Lauren ran 2 weekends ago. She got 3rd place, and she's able to post from the race, from the 3rd place finishing stands, a picture of herself. She also has pictures of her cousin that she can post, and then down here, a picture of her splitting wood, which, if as a student you told people that who didn't know what that meant, it would be very hard to explain. But in a 5-minute share with all of my students, every kid can show something that they feel proud of at their house. And that's really powerful because it helps break down that difference between school and home, and it really just becomes part of their life. The third and final benefit to having this is, as we all know, social media is everywhere, and this is like social media 101 for students. I mean, it is a chance for them to learn how to post properly. It's a chance for them to learn how to comment properly. So if you look up above here, this is a post that I gave to all my students. It says everyone. It was a video that I made of a science test, an outdoor science test that we were taking. It was a kind of a practical test. And I posted it. All of the parents you can see who's seen it. And then by adding comments, my students, this is one of my students, was able to write back after a parent said, looks like they had fun. She said it was fun but confusing. So this creates a chance for conversations to start happening online before they become teenagers, and conversations are happening all over online, and they start to understand how to interact in a positive way. I've done several lessons with my students about positive comments online, about not being able to tell tone online and how important that's going to be. We talked today about Lauren's generation is the first group of people that's going to grow up with social media. Nobody else has ever had that experience from the time they were very little until they were an adult. And I told her and the rest of the class that the goal is that we can eliminate that problem of not understanding each other and getting into fights online. I told her the joke that I told the kids was, if you took somebody from 50 years ago and brought them into the present, the one most amazing thing that you could show them was that you have the power to access the whole of human knowledge in your pocket, and you use it to look at videos of cats and get in fights with people. I mean, that's really what people are at right now with the internet and social media, and I think we can get past that. And Seesaw is a great way for us to start being able to do that. A lot of the teachers at our school have started to use this, all the way down to kindergarten. They find that kindergartners have no problem with clicking the button, taking a picture, recording each other. I know in first grade some of the teachers have used it to record each other doing fluency readings so that their parents can see right here at school, this is what it sounds like when we read. And I know one of the first grade teachers I talked to says that eliminates that barrier between I don't know what my kid does, what my kid sounds like at home, or at school, but at home they read great. And now you can see this is what I'm hearing from them, and that's a benefit to the teacher as well as the parents. So, Lauren, is there anything else that you want to say or show before we go? No? All right. Well, Mr.
I have
Mullins.
a question and a comment.
Sure.
The first thing that you put up your report, how long did it take you to study and research and then do your voice recording? How long would you say it took for you to do that part that we saw at the beginning about snakes? 2 weeks. Okay.
Because we had to write down facts on these note cards, and then we had to read them, and then we had to flip through them.
And how many times did it take you to do your voice recording? Did you get it on the first try?
One time when I was doing it, I had it out of order because I put it in order because it sounded good. Because this person said to put them in body parts about when they're a baby or something like that, and one got out of order, and it just sounded weird because it was like when they're a baby, what they are, and then what they're big again, and then it kind of got.
Yep, mixed up. And then I just want to make a comment that I'm really impressed that you're able to come here tonight and present to us. That's very impressive. And definitely Mr. Larson must have picked you because you do quite well. So thank you for taking time and coming here. Very impressive. And then I was wondering, as we look at portfolios of students and what we share over time, do you believe that, I know all of us as parents, we try to remember to save stuff in kindergarten and first grade. And do you believe that we will use this as a school district to save a portfolio or start creating portfolios so that at some point when Lauren's a senior, she can look back and say, either say, wow, I really did that, or, oh, I was silly back then.
I think one of the benefits right now is CSA's made it available for parents for free at the end of the year to download their entire student's portfolio for the year onto a file that they can take.
Okay.
The problem is, as the next year rolls over, the portfolio will get archived and it will no longer be available.
Okay.
CSA also has a program called CSA in the Schools, which is not a free program. It's a program that they have a program plan for, and that allows a student to have the exact same portfolio from kindergarten all the way through whenever they're done with schools that use CSA. So it can wrap from one school to another. It can continue on through their whole education if every school uses that program along the way. And then at the end, the parent, the student, the teachers have access to the whole breadth of information.
Okay.
And I do think people would use it. I think a lot of times I remember being in second grade in Diane Rickard's class and having a pizza box that we would put all of the stuff into when I was a second grader. And I don't have that pizza box anymore. I don't know where that is. I don't know where any of that stuff is. But I think in this digital age, it's so easy for us to take this file, upload it into our drive, and have it be available there. What?
Just on a device.
Right. Yep. And Wi-Fi, which we found out when we got here. Are there any other questions?
No, thank you very much for showing us.
Thank you for letting us. We were very excited to be able to showcase this for you.
Thanks,
Thank
Lauren.
you. And this is the point at the board meeting that if you want to stick around and enjoy an exciting, stimulating board meeting, you can. Or if you want to exit stage right on a beautiful Wednesday evening, we don't blame you. So thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
The report.
Yeah, under the superintendent's report, when I drafted the personnel changes, as more and more personnel changes became intertwined, I decided to just do that section in our closed session because they do tie together. Miscellaneous at this time, we're ending the year strong. It's very busy and wild, and still, I just think that overall it's been an outstanding year again when you can meet with administrators and say, wow, where did the time go? And again, some of you were at our scholarship and academic recognition, just an outstanding event again the other night. So most of what I have in my report, I'll probably say in the closed session.
And we have, next up, the approved budget, or the adopted budget.
And I'll let Kim walk us through this. It won't be shocking to any of you because we go through this process. You've already seen most of this in December when we're deciding how much are we going to reduce, et cetera. And we knew in December that you gave direction to myself and administrators to cut about $750,000 from the budget. You knew that we'd be over budget then for next school year by about $900,000. And Kim then gives you just the quick cheat sheet tonight. It'd be wonderful we came here and said, hey, we're not going to be 900,000, we're only going to be 300,000 over next year, or we're going to be zero over, but that usually doesn't happen because as we go through the process, we're usually pretty close. So with that,
Is it gonna happen tonight?
No, I know.
Could this be the one?
This could be the one, no, but I'll let Kim
I'm open to surprises.
walk us through the main components. And most of you as board members are pretty much aware of these components because we spend great jobs talking about them in December and January. But Kim?
Okay, unless you have more questions, we're basically just gonna look at pages 2 and 3. We have to approve an adopted budget in June to continue operating in July. So some of the information in the budget is estimates, and they will all get updated in the revised budget. So the first page basically shows you what this budget is about. So the first part is the pupil units, which drives your revenues. Last October, when we do the 5-year projections, we do the pupil units based on the October 1st count at that time. So those are still the same numbers that we're using for the revenue. And that will be updated this October 1st with the new numbers. The second part of the budget that was updated is in the revenues, the special ed aid. For the 15-16 budget, we had a budget in there for the special ed aid. And then when we did the 5-year projection, if you remember, the special ed aid is still volatile, trying to get the formula down. So we had 2 projections, one if it was this much for special ed and one if it was this much, and you chose the second amount. So that's what that 228 is bringing the 15-16 budget up to par on the special ed aid. And on the expenditure side for the teachers' contracts, that contract is settled, so everything in the budget is updated based on the contract. All of their health and dental is updated with the new rates that were approved by the board. Any open positions that we have are budgeted at the vacated amount, so the person that is leaving, we leave their dollar amount in the budget. And then any of the benefits, we leave in the budget what the benefits were for the person that was leaving. We also have 3 vacant kindergarten positions in the budget. And we do that because we don't know the kindergarten numbers, so there's 3 vacant, so if the numbers go up, then those positions will be filled. And then for all other contracts except for teachers, we're in the negotiation cycle for all of those contracts. So the salaries were increased based on the estimate that we had for the negotiations. All of their health and dental were updated based on the new rates. And for that group, any open positions, they're budgeted at step 1 of that position. And then the benefits are what the person that left, what their benefits are. And then you had approved a $700,000 reduction. So then if we go to the next page, and I always just look at the general fund for these unless you have questions on some of the other funds. So the first section of it is the restricted funds, which is our capital. Those will all be updated. They're self-supporting funds. The next section is the committed for the pension and accumulated sick leave payment, the retirees. That's been updated to what we knew at the time that this budget was put through. But there are, even just, this was completed a month ago, and even within that month, there's been tons of changes. And so that will be updated again. So the bottom portion, the yellow line, that's kind of always the line that I say that we have to look at. So if the current budget ends where we projected it to be, the 12 million would be our beginning balance. And this is the unassigned general fund, it's not the other portions of the general fund. The expected revenues are budgeted at 44,873,852, and the budgeted expenditures are at 45,725,387. So this budget, we are overspending revenues by 851,534. And if you look right underneath it, where it says, it doesn't show my finger quite fine, I gotta use it. I was putting my finger there.
Well, let's get Lauren back.
So right here, here, what it's basically showing, tied out that this budget to the original projected budget, there was $724,930 reduced. And so then now, as the people are hired for the positions, their actual salary and benefits will be put in there. We'll update the student counts, but, so this is where we're at for the adopted budget.
So just to be clear.
Yeah.
Had the board done nothing, we would have been
You would add
up 1.576 million over budget.
overspending.
Over budget.
Yeah.
As it was with the reductions that we asked for, we changed that to a overage of 851,534. Okay.
And that's at this point in time.
Right.
Then we'll do all the,
Right.
when they hire the people and you'll see all of that in the revised budget then.
Any other questions for Kim? Thank you, Kim.
And just a quick note for the public, with anybody that wants to look at that entire document. When Kim first got up there, she pretty much showed how to use the hyperlinks on the district website to access all the budgets. So, if you can't do it, or you have problems with it, just phone the district office and somebody will help you out. Right?
Yep.
Yes. Do we have a motion to approve the 2016-2017 adopted budget?
All motion. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. How about a motion to approve insurance rates for 2016-2017 in the areas of property and liability, workers' compensation?
A motion.
Second.
Any discussion? There's negative numbers. A good thing.
Which is a good thing in this report, that's a good thing.
Yeah. No discussion? Do we have a motion? Second?
Did.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Motion to approve the school breakfast, lunch, and meal prices for 2016-2017.
And just to review for some of the newer board members, we definitely as a school board try to keep our lunch prices as low as possible, and we always have. But probably about 3 years ago, the federal government started to see that the reimbursement rate that they were giving to schools for free and reduced was above what schools were charging. So then the federal government said, well, wait a minute. If we're giving you more money as a reimbursement rate than what you're charging, you need to start closing that gap. Otherwise, why are we giving you this reimbursement rate? So what happened then, and every year since then, we've been increasing our rates by about a dime for the per meal. And as I think most of you would agree, this is still a pretty good price for a school lunch. But that's why, again, this year we're bringing forward the recommendation to increase the lunch by next year by 10 cents. Because it does tie into that federal requirement as well.
We have a motion?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I promised the student that I would bring this up. If they're gonna pay a dime more, they want more pizza burgers.
What grade are they?
I don't wanna say it because it may embarrass them, but the
Pizza burger.
pizza burgers, so they're.
April Beckel.
Their voice has been heard.
I recently ate school lunch at McAuliffe, and I was very impressed by the number of fruits and vegetables that the kids like and eat and choose from. It really has changed considerably in the last 5-6 years. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. A 1-year contract with the Center, this is the Chuck Corliss, the Center for Efficient School Operations for Professional Management Services for fiscal year 2017.
There's really 3 components to this contract. We get from them health and safety, and there's going to be a reduction in that contract because in the current year, the individual was coming here 2 days a week, and we've reduced that down to 1 day a week. And then we also, the gentleman who puts out the bids for parking lots, who puts out the bids for the gym floor, helps us with that, and then also walks our facilities for the long-term maintenance facility plan as well. That's about $33,000 in cost. And then there's the $3,500 in the help to negotiate the bus contract. So those are the three components that make up the contract with Cisco. And of course, the health and safety position, we are able to levy for that as well, aren't we, Kim? Or a portion of it
We are, but like next year, the health and safety all
gets rolled.
goes into the LTFM, so the health and safety, the project management, all comes out of those long-term facility dollars.
And as part of their contract, if they assist with a project that I believe is over $150,000 for one-time project, they get 1% of assisting with that project. So for example, if our gym floors this summer is gonna cost $220,000 and they've done all the legwork and that bidding for that, they get 1% of that in addition. So again, we've been watching this. We've worked closely with them for probably a decade now, and I'm recommending approval for the one-year contract.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Speaking of parking lots, there is a motion for, the next item on the agenda is to accept a low bid for a project submitted by LI Blacktop. Is that district-wide, really, or is it?
Yes, it really what's happened with our parking lot projects, and Russ and Dan and Lisa were on the facilities committee that looked at that a little bit more in depth. We had two phases of projects going on. One was seal coating and quite a bit of seal coating, and then some of it was the replacement. For example, up at the high school, there's I believe the teacher lower parking lot, there's a partial replacement of that, etc. Up on the screen, you can see a lot of the gray areas, and it's a lot of parking lot. So for example, Tilden at the community center is the major newer parking lot that we put in. Really, the seal coating almost at this entire campus, because we put this parking lot in 2 to 3 years ago, and then a portion of the high school as well. So they broke it into 2 phases of bids. One was seal coating, and that's the bid that you're looking to act on tonight. And so when you think about the seal coating, it'd be seal coating of a lot of our parking lot space, because this entire campus almost was new in 1 year. And then at that same time, JFK, that parking lot and the drive-through was new in that same year, and they say that the first seal coating should occur after about 3 years. And so just so you know, and then the second phase will be where you dig up the parking lot and you do the major reconstruction. And our facility committee talked about, well, we know that we're gonna have to go for a major bond issue in the next couple of years. Do we wait till then? And they were saying that these parking lots can't wait till then. They need to be done now. So what you're acting on tonight will be the seal coating bid. 8 companies came and picked up packets to bid. 1 company bid.
Yeah, that was my question.
And so that tells you probably the dynamics of how busy they might be this summer, because this would be a pretty good seal coating project to do, because there were so many parking lots. So then we called Minnesota Department of Education and asked if we could accept if there was 1 bid, and they said yes, as long as you go through the process. So then we asked the architect firm to do a comparison of a previous bid that had been submitted to see if it was a good bid, because we just didn't want to accept. And he provided us with a letter saying that their architect firm has worked with this company before, they get things done on time, etc. And comparable to another bid that had been submitted earlier on another project, it was a very favorable bid, probably about $80,000 to $100,000 less than what was projected. So,
Did we have CISA look at this bid at all then too? Or?
yep, they're involved in that as well. But really, the architect engineer probably knows those specifics even better than them. So it was good to get the letter from them on 2 components, that this is a reputable firm and that the bid is a very solid bid. And because of those 2 components, we are recommending to move forward and have the board accept the bid. Then the next bid will come in right before our next board meeting to do the replacement, the major replacement up at basically the high school, and there's a section at JFK as well. So I'm recommending and moving forward with this bid, very favorable bid, and you can see the price of $187,038 on the base of the bid.
What is the timeline for them completing this project?
Well,
Do we know that?
yeah, definitely the timeline is before the start of the school year. And of course, if you put in parameters like there's fines if you don't get it done by that date, bids go up then.
Yeah.
And so we chose not to put in those parameters of penalties. Well, you work in this level of, we chose not to put in a penalty on the seal coating because seal coating can come in and be done basically at a site in one day. They come in, they sandblast out, they grind out, and then they can do the seal coating much quicker than they can do the other bid. The other bid, I'll be quite honest, I'm a little bit nervous about, because if we're not getting the bid until June 22nd, and then for them to come in, get it engineered, get it dug out, get it repaved.
So this is seal coating, restriping.
Yeah, this is just the seal coating, restriping in those areas.
Right. Okay.
On the other one, and I don't know if this is something to talk about, I mean, if we're at that point in the summer and based on the bids, or lack of bids we got back now, would that be something we could push back a year?
That wasn't just, I wasn't at that meeting today because I was in St. Peter at a different meeting, but Kim was at that meeting and that question was asked. Jim Huberty and the architect said these projects should get done, but of course, how out of line is always the question. Am I right on that, Kim?
Yeah, and Jim is the one, and the architect agreed that if they're too high, you could rebid in December and January, which is the better time to bid.
Right, because then they'll
Yeah, I
tap
mean,
them right away.
they can go another year if it would come to that point.
I know that the high school, I see on the diagram up there that the big parking lot, the big student parking lot at
Yes.
the high school will be redone, and I know that that's in use fairly regularly during the summer for the marching band. So if we can get dates and just communicate those, I'm sure that they can work around that, but.
And they will, it will be, because we talked about that too, and the guy from Cisco and Jim will connect with Deanna so that Deanna can get the information out district-wide on
I'm sure Emily Chandler would like to
dates
know.
and timelines.
Are they taking it?
Yes, the end of June and over the 4th of July. Yep. They will be not at the high school. They will be out east.
And they're the most economical trip of all the trips that Hastings sells.
That's because we sleep on a gym
Sleep
floor.
in gym floor.
Well, if you've been around seal coating, I don't know still how good it'll be for marching band because it's, they lightly gravel over and they let that work in, and so their steps might be off a little bit on a seal coated parking lot. So anyway, we are recommending the board accepting the bid.
I'll motion.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. A motion to approve, it's the employee classification review cycle for quite a few of the top positions in the district.
And again, for board members that are new, we're on a 4-year rotation of positions that we say once every 4 years, we are going to look at these positions and analyze them. And is there something that's occurred that your job requirements have either increased or decreased? Not your workload, but your job requirements. And what happened is at what point Hastings got out of that rotation and we needed to get back into it. And so now we put that out there. Our employees now are, whether you're secretary, PSA, whatever it might be. And we're not saying that we'll only look at it during those 4 years. If all of a sudden your job changed dramatically, you don't have to wait necessarily till that 4th year to say, hey, wait a minute, I'm now doing this, this, and this, and this is out of my pay grade. But this, by doing this every point at this time, we know for sure we are at least examining them once every 4 years. So that's why it's here for you to prove, saying, reach out and say if there's a change, let us know so that we can look at it.
Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Changes to the pay equity review for 4 different items.
Yes, the CODA, the Certified Occupational Therapist Assistant, at one time we had removed that, I believe.
Right.
And because we didn't, have the position or need for it, and now we've been advertising because we've been struggling, quite honestly, to get occupational therapists. And so you'll see later on we are hiring a CODA because we've opened that up and we've interviewed it. So that this is now saying reinstate CODA, it's grade 10, that's where it should be, etc. Then also the regulations now have come out for the Affordable Care Act on how much an employee group has to make annually, etc., whether you're exempt or non-exempt, and some other. Go ahead.
Fair Labor Standard Act.
Fair Labor Standard Act. I keep wanting to blame ACA for everything. I'm sorry. I just want to blame them
That's
for.
still knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, I just want to blame them for a lot of things that we're doing. But so what happened when that new dollar amount came out? It then makes the grade 11 district RN now non-exempt. And I'm negotiating with all the bargaining groups right now, and this is something I sat down with them and explained, because exempt or non-exempt means whether or not you have to do time clock plus. And so, as you can imagine, all of a sudden you don't have to do time clock plus, now you have to do time clock plus. And so I sat down with them and they understood it once I was able to, share how the law has changed on that. And then again, some, including for the title change for Director of Food Service, that'd be April Beckel, to be Food and Nutrition Services. And then the other change to the Administrative Assistant for Jim Uberry, the name change as well. So I'm recommending approval of those 4 changes.
Thank you. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next up, we have a roll call item. It is a resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of the probationary teacher.
And these are always difficult, whether it's that we have enough students in a specific subject, whether it's that we need to downsize, et cetera. And I know it's difficult for you as a board because you're expected to act on recommendations from the administration on non-renewals, et cetera. But at this point in time, Meg Johnson and I are recommending to move forward with the non-renewal of this probationary teacher.
Roll call vote. Does somebody want to make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
In second.
Would you entertain a friendly amendment to
I'll
waive?
waive the reading, yeah. We can skip the whereases and therefore be it resolved.
Any discussion? Go ahead.
Joe Becker,
Yes.
Andy Bertram, yes. Dan Cater,
Yes?
Scott Gergen,
Yes.
Lisa Dean,
Yes.
Vince O'Brien,
Yes.
Russ Rolla.
Yes.
Motion passes. Motion to approve increased FTEs.
Yeah, this is, it ties into Todd Levos, math teacher, had been some at the middle school. Dan Murtha currently has been teaching some math at the middle school. Now Todd Levos is going to go to be the ALC coordinator. So now Dan Murtha has to pick up some of that math FTE as Todd Levos then goes and teaches a math class and is coordinator at the ALC as well. So that's how Dan's position then went from 0.85 to 1.0. In fact, at one point, Mark Zuzik, this was part of his reductions. So what he's picking up at the middle school is more than just an increase of 0.15, but altogether Dan Murtha's 1.0 FTE for the upcoming school year.
Anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Go ahead, you got a question, Ross?
No.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And then we have a number of resignations.
I'll move to approve the resignations of the group.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And a number of leaves.
A motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And then a motion to approve the employment of some individuals.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I'm not sure if you have to not vote on this.
Oh, that's a good point.
I think that you probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
You'd probably vote no, and I'd have to tell her. So it probably saved you, but I would recommend you not voting on this issue, whether, I don't know legally if you,
Good call.
so.
Yeah.
For the public who's watching, Vince's daughter is being recommended to be hired as a teacher, so if you're watching, I didn't want you to say, well, why is he saying that Vince shouldn't vote on it? But because a daughter is being hired, probably recommend not to.
But we still need a motion. A second.
No, we have the
We got it.
motion in second.
Sorry, I got thrown off. Can the vice chair then ask whether or not it should be approved or not, for any discussion?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I'll just say that it looks like a very fine group of hires here. So.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
One abstain.
One abstain.
And number of people being reassigned or change in assignment.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion on that one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And a motion to rescind a reassignment that we had done earlier.
And I'll share a little bit more about this in private. We just approved Lori to move as the middle school counseling secretary, and she met with us and asked to move back to her original position, and we agreed with her decision. So we're recommending that we rescind that assignment and then open up the middle school counseling secretary position.
Things change. I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And we got some very big dates coming up. Our middle school graduation, 8 o'clock on Thursday, June 9th. High school graduation, 7 p.m. Where is it going to be on Friday, June 10th?
It's gonna be outside.
Outside. Bring your umbrellas, we're doing it.
And a work session with the administrators in the middle of that week on June 8th.
And then June 6th, I know that some of you were from 5 to 6 o'clock. We're going to meet with some of the parents from ELL right prior to the picnic. And Sandra Hisakuni has been working on that and making some phone calls. And I'll let you know more about that. And I said, even if 4 or 5 can make it, we're fine with that. It's just to have that dialogue and that conversation from 5 to 6. And I know that some of you said that you could come to that but couldn't be at the picnic. So just remind me again who said they could come from 5 to 6?
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
I can come for a little bit. I gotta
Okay.
leave a little early, but
Okay. I said that there would be 4 to 5 of us. So 2 to 3 in a group is perfect. And I'll talk to you later about. I'll show you the questions that I sent to the parents that we're going to ask, et cetera. So I'm still planning on that for June 6th. And then closed
All
session.
right. And then I just want to share, I was at Kennedy the other day, and we received, all the members of the school board received an invitation to an event that they're hosting on Tuesday, May 31st. They have a Read Across Kennedy crew, 3rd and 4th graders that read to 1st and 2nd graders. They host events throughout the year. And I'll make this available for everybody to look at. There's specific times when they're going to camp out in the gym and have the 3rd and 4th graders share their love and passion of reading with the younger students. And they would love it if we could stop by.
Just one more note before you jump to the closed session. I know Tim mentioned this just a little bit in passing, that earlier this week there was the awards and the scholarship night at the high school. And this was my first time attending that. And I just wanted to say thank you to the entire community for their generosity. They gave just north of $145,000 in scholarships in one night. And it was absolutely, it wasn't just big companies. It wasn't, just the big organizations in town and around town. It was smaller organizations. It was various societies. It was memorial funds that had been set up. So it was just a fantastic night. So thank you to the entire community.
Well said, and as long as we're on that note, the all-night grad party will happen between now and the time we meet next. So big thank you to all the businesses and all the individuals that contribute to the all-night grad party, which also really helps the whole community quite a bit. So thanks to everybody who pitches in. And for those people who are going.
They're looking for help.
Yeah, they're always looking for help.
I'll be dealing blackjack that night. So.
Some of us have done that a number of years. I would recommend not doing both shifts. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
Well, I'll move that we go into closed session.
Oh, yeah.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Closed session.